play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horse.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
Step right up, folks, you just got to see the magnificent, magical, mysterious menagerie. It'll amaze, it'll amuse, arouse and astound. No doubt the most bodacious show in this town. Pack up your sorries, kiss away your cares. You won't have to worry no more. If you're tired and run down and life ain't worth living no more, you can't hardly drag yourself out of bed like before. You got no health, no vitality, no vigor, no zest. The Chief's Indian remedy elixir's the best. Don't hesitate, you don't want to be late. Get there before it's all gone. You gotta drink it neat, that's right, it ain't too sweet. Before long you'll be back wanting more. The Chief will make you believe the doc ain't there to deceive, and the story that he weaves will relieve you of some of your pain and all of your change, but you'll be glad that you came to the show. They got a peg-legged dancer and an Indian chief, a blues-singing lady with diamonds in her teeth. They got a two-headed turtle, man, you just gotta see it. They got a chicken that can count to 10. Follow them down to the free show tonight. You don't want to miss it begin. Yeah, step right up, folks, you just got to see the magnificent, magical, mysterious menagerie. Yes, it will amaze, amuse, arouse, and astound. No doubt the most bodacious show in this here town. Pack up your sorries, kiss away your cares. You won't have to worry no more. They got a peg-legged dancer and an Indian chief, a blues-singing lady with diamonds in her teeth. Like I said, they got a two-headed turtle, man, you just gotta see it. A chicken that can count to 10. Follow them down to the free show tonight. You don't want to miss it begin. That's right, step right up, folks, you just got to see the magnificent, magical, mysterious menagerie. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
The show is Horses Sing None of It. My name is Ralph Litwin, and our guest tonight is Roy Bookbinder.
Well, it's nice to see you again. It's been many years.
Yes, it has been quite a few years since.
Nice to still be around.
It is nice to still be around.
Yes, sir. Nice to be back in New Jersey. I live in Florida, and I made my way up on a tour up the coast. Been real busy. Thursday I played Jacksonville. Friday I played Savannah. Saturday I played Columbia. Sunday I played Asheville. Tuesday I played Reston, Virginia. Thursday I played, I had a day off. And on Friday I played New Freedom, Pennsylvania. Saturday I played at, what day is today? I don't even remember.
It's Monday.
It's a busy schedule. Saturday I was somewhere else, and Sunday I was right here in Rockaway, New Jersey.
Excellent.
I wish I could have worked like that when I was 60.
Oh, well.
Oh, well, it's great to be alive, and now I'm headed into New England. I live in Florida now, and for the last 22 years I've been living with the new wife. She had a house down there. 22 years ago, she took me home to this little cottage. I saw it and I fell in love with her. I've been there ever since. And now that I'm in my 70s, I stay home all winter, November to, I get home for Thanksgiving and I head out. I always start my tours with Merlefest in April, and then I head west and do the cross-country tour. Last time I met you, I was living in the bus, I think, but now I live in the wife's house. I still got the bus, and I go out for 6 months. I did the West Coast tour in New England in the fall, and life is good. Got my own record company now. I used to record for Rounder and Flying Fish and all them little companies, and now I got my own record company, Peg Leg Records. And our motto at Peg Leg is, we walk our own way. I actually knew 3 peg-legged dancers, believe it or not. And that's why I put that in my song, you got a peg-legged dancer. And the lady with the diamond teeth, that was Diamond Teeth Mary. She was a classic blues singer we met in a retirement village in Sarasota, Florida in her 80s, about 20 years ago. She's gone now. I put that in that song there, and Peg Leg Sam was my buddy who played harmonica with Pink Anderson and danced in the medicine shows back in the day. Pink Anderson is a good old guy. He made 2 records in 28 and then worked medicine shows his whole life. It was 1970, I met him. He'd retired, he had a stroke and couldn't play, but Peg Leg Sam was still out on the road with Chief Thundercloud's medicine show. A lot of the medicine shows were actually run by Indian chiefs. I don't know if they were really Indian chiefs. I don't know if they were really doctors. But Pink told me at the end they didn't have any good medicine, but they had church ladies drinking alcohol 6 times a day by the teaspoonful, and they didn't care they were sick. It's a lot like, you know, it continues today on your TV and your computer. They're selling all kinds of stuff that's going to make you, and don't ask your doctor, just send $29.99. That's not all, we'll throw in an extra batch. It's a funny world we live in. Nothing really changes, it just gets more difficult to navigate. Next question.
Would you like to give us another song?
Sure, I'll do another song. I'm going to do the, I'll do this one here. This is another one from my first album, my latest album on Peg Leg Records. It's called The Good Book, because my name is Bookbinder. You know my good gal left with another man. I won't be missing her raising sand. She ain't good looking and she don't dress fine. The girl can't cook and she's always lying. Could have been worse, they say. Could have been worse, you know. Could have been worse, just wait. That's right. She's telling stories on all her friends, who's doing who to what, where, and when. She can't keep her mouth shut, that's for sure. If she hears some trash, just wants some more. Well, it could have been worse, they say. Could have been worse, you know. It could have been worse, just wait. Yeah, it could have been worse. Old Picket Roy. Yes, it could have been worse, they say. It could have been worse, you know. Could have been worse, just wait. Could have been worse, you'll see. She's drinking whiskey and drinking wine, smoking reefers all the time. She gets so high, can't hardly stand, and she can't remember that I'm her man. Could have been worse, they say. Could have been worse, you know. Could have been worse, just wait. Yeah, it could have been worse, you'll see. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey.
That's a good song there. It's dedicated to my first 2 wives.
I saw on your website some story about a guy named Hacksaw.
Hacksaw Harney. Hacksaw Harney was the greatest guitar player in the Mississippi Delta, they say. Now, Robert Lockwood Jr. was a friend of mine, and everybody called him Junior. I got a song that I'm not going to do tonight called Everybody Called Him Junior. But when he was born in Turkey Scratch, Arkansas, he told me, in 1915. And his mama moved across the river with him, and he grew up in the Mississippi Delta. The Arkansas Delta was very similar to the Mississippi Delta, except it was on the west side of the river. That was really the only difference. And in the mid-30s, Robert Lockwood's mama had a boyfriend that made records and played guitar, and his name was Robert Johnson. And at that time, Robert Lockwood was about 15, when Robert Johnson was like 23 or something. And they became pallies, and Robert Johnson taught Robert Lockwood how to play the guitar. And Robert Lockwood was trying to play the organ, and then he switched to guitar because he had a good teacher. And he learned a lot of stuff, and he could play everything Robert Johnson played. And then Robert Johnson got murdered, I think, in '38. Never did marry Robert Lockwood's mama. I'm not going to get into the personal business of those people. But Lockwood made his first records in '41, and he recorded 2 songs that were very similar to Robert Johnson's style. And he also played with a harmonica player named Sonny Boy Williamson. And they had a little radio show over in Helena, Arkansas, just across the river there. And they had to have a sponsor. They did a 15-minute radio show once a week or twice a week, and King Biscuit Flour was their sponsor. And today they got the King Biscuit Flour Hour on the radio for the last 30 years, and they got the King Biscuit Blues Festival. That's all named after Lockwood and Sonny Boy's radio show. They used to do a jingle called, they called themselves the King Biscuit Flour Boys or something, Flour Hour Boys. And they worked all over the place. And Lockwood had a great career. From there, he made his way up to Memphis, where he played in a band. B.B. King was in the band. They were called the Beale Streeters. B.B. King actually told me face to face, like we're sitting, he said that when he was still picking cotton in the Delta there, when Mr. Lockwood was on the radio. And on Wednesdays at noon, he'd get a lunch break from picking cotton. He'd run to the shack that had one of them wireless radios with a coat hanger for an antenna. And he always wanted to hear, he didn't want to miss Mr. Lockwood playing the guitar, and he wanted to be a guitar player. So he learned some guitar, and he ended up, when he was a teenager, up there in Memphis with Robert and a bunch of guys, and they had the Beale Streeters. And Robert Lockwood said to B.B., they didn't call him B.B. yet, they called him Riley. That was his name. He said, Riley, you got a problem with your guitar picking. And young Riley says, well, what's my problem? He says, it's a big problem. He says, you can't keep time. He said, oh, what can I do about it? He said, well, I'm going to tell you something, and you pay attention, because I know what I'm talking about. Lockwood always knew what he was talking about. Lockwood said to him, you get yourself a big band, and they'll keep time, and you just play along. And it worked. And you know, Mr. Lockwood, we became pals when he was like 88. I think I played at his 88th birthday party, and we became friends. And he lived to be 93, I think. He lived up in Cleveland. And every time B.B. King and his big show would go up to Cleveland, B.B. would have the limo driver take him over to Lockwood's house, because Mary Lockwood could cook some soul food. And B.B. King was a big eater, as you might imagine. So that was nice. And Robert Lockwood had a lot of stories about everybody, mostly unfavorable. He was a tough old coot. He was a tough old coot. But he was my last old friend. They're all dead now. And it's really weird that all of a sudden you're playing festivals and you're the old blues guy. It's really bizarre. But you got to be careful what you wish for when you're young. You want another song?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you another one. Yeah, I'll give you another one. I'll do another. I mostly stress my own material now. It's a good thing to do. This is, I'm trying to remember what I did on your show 20 years ago, but I have no clue. I'll do one, the New Age Woman Blues. That's on another one of my albums. I got 10 albums that are still in production, some of them on Rounder still.
And you can find out more about that at roybookbinder.com.
Right. She don't drink and she don't smoke. I don't believe she ever fooled with dope, but watch out, that girl's got them new age ways. If a tarot cards didn't tell her everything, she'd throw her coins and she'd ask I Ching, no need to talk with me. The girl had him. She knows I didn't have no maps of stars and moons or a Chinese guru up in my room. Didn't have tea leaves in my cup to guide my way. She had crystal balls and tea leaves too, and said the gypsy always knew when it was time for her to stay or time to leave. She used to say, Roy, your moon is rising and your sun's going down. She'd check my chart before I left town. Before I met that gal, I wonder how I ever got around. I didn't have no maps of stars and moons or a Chinese guru up in my room. I didn't have no tea leaves in my cup. I said to guide my way. Oh, pick it, Roy. Yeah. She got a rabbit's foot and a mojo too. God only knows which tells her what to do. When I fly the coop, she knows just where I flew. Yes, I guess I better let that little girl go. She got too many friends that I don't know. I wish I knew back then what I now know. But I still ain't got no maps of stars and moons or a Chinese guru. Tea leaves in my cup to guide my way. Right, she don't drink and she don't smoke. Don't believe she ever fooled with. Watch out, that girl's got them new age ways. Ooh, you better watch out. Thank you.
All right.
That's the new age woman blues. I'm not going to talk about my ex-wives, but I lived in the bus for 16 years with the two wives, not the same time, but I never knew that. I knew that wouldn't work. And now I live in St. Pete, so it's funny how things turn out. But I still love the road. I still love doing it. And it's an amazing country that I could do such a thing. I couldn't do it anywhere else in the world. I've played all over the world. I've been to Australia twice and been to every country in Europe. Most of them aren't countries anymore. Last time I was in Europe, I don't like to go to Europe a whole lot. I hate to leave America because it's so easy for me with the tour bus, you know. I got a Sprinter van now with a motorhome inside of it, and it's just really comfortable, and you always sleep on your own pillow, got your coffee grinder, and you know where you're going, and you know how to do it. I got my first motorhome 40 years ago, 1976. It's a bicentennial thing, I guess. Left Greenwich Village. Dave Enright thought I was nuts. He said he said, you giving up your pad for this? I said, I'm hitting the road, Dave. He said, I give it 6 months. 14 years later, we were playing a gig at a club out in L.A. McCabe's Guitar Shop has a club in the back. And after the gig, he was passed out on my sofa in the motorhome. And we were going to a party. Dick Waterman was directing us how to get to this music party. Libba Cotton was going to be there and all kinds of cool people. And Van Rock's on the couch laying there and he says, you know, this motorhome wasn't a bad idea. And it was great. You get to a festival, you got an air-conditioned dressing room with a shower, you know, you got your own coffee pot, you got your, whatever you do, your beer in the fridge or whatever. It's good. It was a good life. It still is. I mean, I did this year. I only work 6 months a year now. I go out, like I said, for the Merle Fest at the end of April, and this year I had 67 cities booked in a 6-month period, and that's pretty damn good.
Yes, that is.
Yeah, I have a few colleagues in the folk music business that called me up and said they want me to book them. I said, no, I can't do that. I was merely keep my own thing going, but I appreciate your confidence because I work a lot for a solo acoustic finger-picking folk singer that plays some blues. It's not the most popular music in the world, you know. And everybody says, oh, we only hire singer-songwriters. I said, hey, what blues singer didn't write his own material? I got enough material to do a couple hours now, which is great. And a lot of times, before I had that many songs, people would come up to me and say, those last 2 songs were the best songs. Who wrote those? And I'd say, oh, that was mine. So it's kind of nice. And when Jorma Kaukonen covered a couple of my songs, that really was a boost. And a lot of Canadian folk singers and U.S. folk singers that you might have never heard of covered a couple of my songs. So it's nice. I make over $100 in royalties every year. I love this country. I got a good song here. I was on the road after I got out of the service in '65. I ended up, a long story, I told it last time probably, but I went on the road with Reverend Gary Davis. He said he'd straighten out my guitar playing. I told him I had $50. He said, I'll carry you the rest of the way to fix your guitar playing up. I was okay. So we went on the road, and I wrote the song for Reverend Gary Davis, who passed away May 5th, 1972. And a film just came out on Amazon, believe it or not. It was produced by Woody Mann and Trevor Lawrence in New York, a documentary on Reverend Gary Davis' life. It's a beautiful film, and it was shown at film festivals for 2 years, and now it's on Amazon for $19.99. You can download it, you can do whatever you want with it, and it features some of the people that were influenced by him and footage of him at festivals and talking, and his wife. Bob Weir is in there freaking out over Gary Davis. He loved Gary Davis, and Jerry Garcia would have been on it, but he's dead. But he covered a lot of Reverend Davis songs, as did Hot Tuna, Jorma Kaukonen, and Ernie Hawkins, and Davian Rock and Taj Mahal, and the Blasters. And when Peter, Paul, and Mary recorded the first song, they heard him singing on 135th Street. They made sure he got paid, and they set up management for him. And his widow lived for 28 odd years after Reverend Davis passed on the royalties. So it's a beautiful film if you want to see it. I'm in there myself, a little cameo, but. And then in the extras, in the DVD, there's always extras. In the extras, I sing this song. It's called The Preacher Picked the Guitar. And this is one that quite a few people have covered. It tells the story of old Gary Davis. I'm going to tell you a story about a man I once knew. A blind street singing preacher that played some blues. His fingers picked the guitar. They danced up and down the board. He passed his days just singing and waiting on the Lord. Well, the people heard his message and they came from miles around. His pulpit was on the streets up in Harlem, sometimes way downtown. His fingers picked the guitar, that's right, they made the magic chords. Passed his days just singing and waiting on the Lord. The angels heard him sing, thought he should be heard. They opened their ears around the world so he could spread the word. That's right, preacher picked the guitar. His hands made magic chords. Passed his days just singing and waiting on the Lord. But he sailed across the ocean to London and to France, thanking Jesus every day for giving him the chance. His fingers picked the guitar, danced up and down the board, passed his days just singing and waiting on the Lord. One day his time had come knew where he was going, where he had just come from. Fingers picked the guitar, danced up and down the board, passed his days just singing and waiting on the Lord. Well, I told you a story about a man I once knew, a blind street singing preacher, played some blues. Yes, the preacher picked the guitar, his hands made magic chords, passed his days just singing and waiting on the Lord. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Here we just have time to say thank you for being on the show and take it out with a little jam session.
Okay, thank you. Play some St. Pete blues. Get your ups and you get your downs. That's what it takes to make a fool go around. I said, hey baby, you ain't so such much, you know. Ooh, I'm going back down south. I won't leave all this rain, sleet, cold, and snow. Papa told Mama how it's gonna be. Mama said, Papa, Daddy, you just wait and see. I said, hey, baby, you ain't so such much, you know. Yes, you know where I'm going. I'm going back down south. Leave all of this rain, sleet, cold, and snow. Yeah. Save all your sorries, you might need one of them someday. Before you move your lips, Mama, you better stop and think what you're about.